At the age of 34, Zohran Mamdani has broken many glass ceilings. He will be the 11th mayor of New York City after defeating former Governor Andrew Cuomo and Republican contestant Curtis Silva, and making history as the city's first Muslim mayor, and at 34, its youngest in more than a century. Zoran Mamdani, in the highest turnout election since 1969, surpassed 1 million votes. Meanwhile, the polls in the US have dealt a big blow to Trump as Democrats swept through major races, not just in New York, but also Virginia and New Jersey. Let's now tell you more about who is Zoran Mamdani. Well, he is New York's first Indian origin Muslim mayor, and he was born in Kampala in Uganda. Apart from that, he is also, like I mentioned, he was raised in New York City, and he is youngest New York mayor in over 100 years. New York mayor at the age of just 34. He's son of renowned director Meera Nair, often challenges establishment Democrats. And of course, the focus that he has focused on during his whole campaign and everything was, number one, public transit access, also on Palestinian solidarity and anti-war activism. These have perhaps been some of Mamdani's focus areas. There's more to it, working class representation. So this is all about Zoran Mamdani. Let's also now tell you about Mamdani's fiery victory speech. Some of major quotations that stood out. Number one, what he said after he won the New York mayoral race: "I'm young and I'm Muslim." Then he said, "New York will remain the city of immigrants." And Mamdani to Trump, he said, "Turn the volume up." That was his message to the US President Donald Trump. Trump defeated in the city that made him. These are some of his victory speech quotations that stood out. Let's now tell you about Mamdani's responsibilities and the limitations as the New York mayor. Now, his responsibilities: number one, financial, preparing the city's budget, and of course, the largest municipal budget at $112.4 billion. Then comes his administrative task to oversee and administer all city services. Then comes appointment of several officials in charge of city agencies and departments. And when we talk about his legislative role, Mamdani will have to oversee all legislation signed by the city council. However, despite all these responsibilities and the roles, there are some limitations as well. Limitation number one, Mayor Mamdani cannot unilaterally approve tax increases. Apart from this, he cannot institute new laws independently. And lastly, he will require approval of the state legislature. So that's limitation number three, that he will be requiring approval of the state legislature. And well, to talk more on this, my colleague Natasha Israni is now joining me live. Natasha, how significant is this moment? The first time a progressive of South Asian and Ugandan heritage will lead America's largest city.
Oh, it's hugely significant. This is the first Indian American, South Asian, Muslim mayor of New York City. He's also one of the youngest mayors of New York City. They've been at the Brooklyn Paramount Theatre for hours now, covering the reaction to his victory, and there's so much excitement which is palpable here, not only amidst people of color, but also younger New Yorkers, older New Yorkers, all the New Yorkers who feel that he spoke to their issues, their tangible economic issues, whether it comes to affordable housing or childcare, or the fact that he's promising to have free buses. All of this spoke to New Yorkers who struggle very often in a very expensive city. And his candidacy, which really came out of nowhere, it seemed to some New Yorkers about a year ago, it really took off the way he was on social media, his charm, his smile, and he was able to speak across the aisles to different groups, diverse groups in this city to make history as the first Indian American mayor of New York City.
Right, Natasha, of course, you spoke about his credentials there, but you're joining us live from Mamdani's campaign headquarters. What's the mood like right now?
The mood tonight, well, we actually started out in Queens, where we were at several polling stations and talking to Indian Americans who had been campaigning and canvassing for Mamdani. We spoke to them, and then we came down to Brooklyn, another borough of New York City. This is where Mamdani declared victory, and this is the spot which has been buzzing non-stop. They've been shouting out Mamdani's name. There's just so much excitement around history being made tonight. We spoke to a range of people. We spoke to Jewish New Yorkers and Muslim New Yorkers and Hindu New Yorkers, and really what emerged was that somehow Mamdani's campaign was being able to bring together very diverse groups in this very diverse city, and that excitement and that happiness is palpable. And we asked them, do you think that Mamdani will actually be able to pull off some of those rather difficult promises that he requires a lot of money for really to pull off, including its promise of universal child care? The New Yorkers say that they have hope that with his energy, he is going to pull it off.
Right, absolutely, Natasha. Now, this victory of Mamdani is also being described as a generational shift in New York politics. What perhaps does Mamdani's victory tell us about the changing political mood in New York City?
Well, definitely a huge generational shift. Mamdani is only 34 years old. Andrew Cuomo, the former governor of New York, is far older, is a veteran, has been around for a long time. In fact, Mamdani, when he was as a city assemblyman, has only looked after a staff of 5 people. And now he's going to have 300,000 employees that are going to be under him in New York City. So this is monumental in terms of New York choosing new blood, choosing hope. In many ways reminiscent of the kind of euphoria that President Barack Obama had created when he was campaigning, which was on hope, fresh energy, magnetism, charm, all of that. And so yes, it's significant that New York is electing a much younger mayor, and also going for democratic, progressive, socialist values. While Democrats traditionally in New York have been more centrist, we really haven't seen a far progressive or a socialist as we are seeing now in Mamdani's campaign. And I think it speaks a lot also to who he spoke to the most, which is the young New Yorkers.